I can increase the attack to all allies depending on how many enemies I hit with my skill, and increase speed of all allies with my ultimate. Oh yeah, I can increase the attack of one ally with the skill for 3 turns based off of my attack, and give energy plus damage buff with my ultimate. Oh, get out of here. I can give a turn to a single ally and increase their damage, and also grant crit damage plus bonus from my crit damage using my ultimate. I can increase attack of all allies while my skill is active, and with my ultimate, I can give crit rate and crit damage buff to all allies.
My skill recovers a skill point every 2 attacks that we do to a target enemy, and with my ultimate gives unconditional attack buff plus part of my speed.
What is going on, everyone? Tenha here, and today in this video we're gonna talk about Ruan Mei. We're gonna go over her kits, her best Lightcones, Relic sets, and Eidolons. So Ruan Mei is a Ice Harmony character. Before we jump into anything else, let's look at the bonus ability first. You need to understand her kit before you know how to build her, okay? In her Respiration, you get 20% break effect for all allies, and Ruan Mei regenerates 5 energy at the start of her turn, and in battle, for every 10% of Ruan Mei's break effect that exceeds 120%, her skill additionally increases allies' damage by 6% up to a maximum of 36%. So you get the bonus up until 180 break effect. From the nodes, you get 5 speed, 37.3% break effect, and 22.5% defense. Ruan Mei's talent increases speed by 10% for the team. When allies break an enemy's target weakness, Ruan Mei deals to this enemy target break damage equal to 120% of her ice break damage. Her skill lasts for 3 turns, and when this skill is active, all allies' damage increases by 32%, and weakness break efficiency increases by 50%. You could never get weakness break efficiency outside of Simulator Universe, but now we can have it through a character. So, I'm gonna have to say that this character is power creeping, or maybe adding additional ways to make your team better. And I really hope that this is not the signal for Honkai Star Rail to increase the difficulty of their game, but I think it's somewhat needed because the game right now is just too easy. This is not just the viewpoint of a whale, but a lot of the people who had been grinding in this game and having a lot of fun noticed that. While I would appreciate the increase in difficulty, I don't want them to make a character to be a solution to that. Because if that's the case, people would be forced to choose Ruan Mei, whether if they like some other characters or not, because that's always a bad thing for a gacha game. And Ruan Mei's ultimate. She deploys a field that lasts for 2 turns. And while inside the field, all type resistance penetration increases by 25%. Their attacks apply debuff to the enemy's hit. And when those enemies attempt to recover from the weakness break, this debuff is triggered, extending the duration of their weakness break, delaying their action by an amount equal to 20% of Ruan Mei's break effect plus 10%, and dealing break damage equal to 50% of Ruan Mei's ice break damage. Enemy targets cannot have this debuff reapplied to them until they recover from weakness break. And let's talk about her technique. After using the technique, gain Silken Serenade. At the start of the next battle, automatically triggers the skill for 1 time without consuming skill points. In Simulated Universe, when Ruan Mei has Silken Serenade, the team actively attacking enemies will always be regarded as attacking their weakness to enter battle, and this attack can reduce all enemies' toughness regardless of weakness types. When breaking weakness, triggers weakness break effect corresponding to the attacker's type. For every blessing in possession, additionally increase the toughness reducing damage of this attack by 100%. And after breaking an enemy target's weakness, additionally deals to the enemy target break damage equal to 100% of Ruan Mei's ice break damage. Okay, so we all know what this is for. Ruan Mei is the queen of Simulator Universe. We all know that. And with this technique, we should be able to power through a lot of the boring part of farming in Simulator Universe. So by looking at her kit, we can already see how OP she is. She increases the duration of the weakness break of the enemy, she gives resistance penetration, she gives damage buff, and she's a skill point positive character. Compared to Asta, Yukong, and Bronya, in my opinion, I think we got too much out of one character. Easy S tier character. Her signature is very good. It allows you to focus on some other stats other than break effect, because this thing gives you 60% break effect. Not only that, but also, after using your ultimate, it increases all allies' damage by 24%, lasting for 3 turns. Like, what is this Lightcone? Like, compared to Bronya's signature, it only gives you 30% damage for 1 turn. And also, if your break effect exceeds or equal to 150%, 1 skill point will be recovered. And at the start of each wave, immediately restores 10 energy for all allies. I'm gonna have to say that even if you're like F2P or small spender, you should probably go for her and the Lightcone because the value of this thing is pretty good. And the second best option you can go for is gonna be Memory of the Past. It gives you 56% break effect at S5, and the wearer attacks additionally regenerates 8 energy. So the first and second best in slot is good because you get break effect, which means that you can free yourself from using break effect rope, and instead you can use the energy recharge rope. And other options you can use for her is going to be planetary rendezvous. You can give the 24% damage buff to an ally that deals the same damage type as the wearer. Okay, now we're going to talk about the relics. We went over light cones and traces, so we know our target break effect. For the Lightcone, we know that we want to go for 150% or more to get 1 skill point after we use our ultimate. And from the bonus ability, we know that we want to go for 180% in order for us to get 36% damage bonus for everyone. And from the ultimate, we know that the more break effect we have, the better. So as long as you can keep your Ruan Mei alive, I recommend you to go for break effect. So you want to go for a thief set, and for the 2-piece set, you want to go for Kingdom of Banditry. Speed and break effect for your substats, speed boots, defensive stats for body so that you can stay alive, and either break effect rope or energy recharge rope. So if you do have the best in slot Lightcone and all the relics that you have for Ruan Mei, you can free up this break effect for energy recharge rope. But for me, I'm going for break effect rope because I want to see that boss monster to stay broken until he or she or it dies. Okay, so for the team building for Ruan Mei, we all know that she's gonna be a harmony character. We can use her for anywhere. But with the support character that can increase the break efficiencies, I would have to say that you can probably do everything with 1 DPS. And when that is the case, you can just use 1 extra support like Bronya, Tingyun, Yukong if you wish, Asta, Pela, Hanya, and so on, and have your main DPS and a sustain. An example team like this, we know that Bronya is a skill point negative character. We know that Jingliu also uses skills. You can go for Locha as a sustain. If you by any chance have a team that doesn't use a lot of skill points, you can go for Ho-Ho, Lynx, Natasha, even March 7th, or Bailu. And of course, Gepard can be there if you want, but this character is just basically forgotten. But if that's your only choice, then you can use Gepard. And lastly, let's go over her Eidolons. Her E1, while the ultimate's field is deployed, the damage dealt by all allies ignore 20% of the target's defense. And E2, with Ruan Mei on the field, all allies increase their attack by 40% when dealing damage to enemies with weakness break. Her E3 gives you ultimate level +2 and talent level +2, which means that we're getting extra penetrations and we're getting more speed. And E4, when an enemy target's weakness is broken, Ruan Mei's break effect increases by 100% for 3 turns. This will help you delay the enemy when they're trying to recover from their weakness break, and because the way we build Ruan Mei is really fast, lasting for 3 turns is gonna be always good. E5 will give you skill level +2 and basic attack level 1, and E6 extends the duration of the ultimate's field by 1 turn. The talent's break damage multiplier additionally increases by 200%. I would say the best stopping point for you is going to be either E0, E1, or E2. E6, yes, it will give you 3 turns for your ultimate field, but the way we usually do damage to the enemy is we have to build up our buff, use our ultimate, and then do 1 big damage at some point of time. While her E6 basically helps her to have her ultimate up almost 100% of the time, this is not going to be worth it for most of the people who's spending money in Honkai Star Rail. Okay, let's go ahead and do some showcase for Ruan Mei. And one thing I am curious about is that we do get similar effect when we freeze the enemy. When they're trying to recover from their weakness break, they do not get the turn, they get delayed a little bit, and then they get the turn, right? I'm wondering if you get the same effect by using Ruan Mei. And thankfully, although we built her really fast, when we use our ultimate first like this, we get those debuff like this. You get this little flowery effect where it indicates that if we do break them, and when they're trying to recover from the weakness break, we get this effect right here. Dealing their action by an amount equal to 20% of Ruan Mei's break effect plus 10%. We now have 292.8%, right? 20% of this is going to be about 60%, plus 10% is going to be 70%. So we're going to be able to see this monkey down for a long time. The funny thing about Ruan Mei's debuff is that it lasts forever. It doesn't go away. So even if you don't have enough damage or you don't hit enough to break the enemy, it's totally fine. We have to break with ice. Okay. Let's see how this works. Okay. So this thing is still on. Okay, here we go. Ooh. So that's how Ruan Mei works. So my overall rating for Ruan Mei is going to be S+. For those people who already has built their characters and they do shit ton of damage, you don't need Ruan Mei, to be honest. However, depending on how Honkai Star Rail is going to challenge us with their future contents, Ruan Mei could potentially become your must-have character in order for you to get through some contents, but as far as I know, this game had been very forgiving when it comes to game difficulty. For the veteran players, you don't need Ruan Mei, although she is very broken. However, for those people who just started playing this game or didn't have enough time to play this game all the time, then Ruan Mei is gonna be a must-have. She's gonna give you speed, she increases your break efficiency, she can also delay the weakness break for maybe one more turn. If you're using freeze, the boss enemy is not gonna move for another turn. It's just amazing. I know that a lot of the people would say she's really broken, she's a must-have, but if you already have pulled for everything and you don't have money at this point, then you can probably wait for her rerun. Because who knows if any of those new characters that comes out at like 2.0 would be like even more broken than Ruan Mei, right? So, while you have those in mind, I really hope that all the Ruan Mei wanters will be the Ruan Mei havers. I'm gonna try to go for E2, maybe, because I don't see the reason why I would go for E6 because all my characters are really well built. If you did find this video helpful, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to my channel with the large settings on, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.